Hi, hello, hi, George here. I hope everyone's okay. Well, feeling the great anticipation for the rapture. All right, I've decided to take a look at the northern side of Israel. I think things seem to be fairly well established on the south with Gaza. I wanted to take a look at Syria. Now, Syria at the moment is a very noisy news-wise. In general, what the newswires are saying is that the government of Assad may fall in a matter of weeks. And uh, Assad himself has prepared some kind of a stronghold outside of Damascus in some kind of mountain fortress. And so it looks like the situation there will degenerate, or is probably already degenerated, into a civil war. Now, what I so that all of that is normal for this. Not really normal in terms of it's really deteriorating, but that's the normal trend. I was looking for something that stood out, that seemed unusual, and I found something odd. In order to understand this, you need to understand a little bit about the relationship between the Philippines and Israel. Okay, um, the Philippines and Israel don't seem to have, on the surface, a very close relationship, right? I mean, we don't do a lot of trade, and we hardly. I mean, we don't see many people from Israel in the Philippines. We're quite far away, other side of the world. There are two bits of historical trivia, though, about the Philippines and Israel. Is that during the time when the Holocaust was about to build up, before the Second World War, the Philippine president Quezon, this is in the 1930s, issued 10,000 um, visas for Jews to travel to the Philippines. And unfortunately, only 1,200 made it before the situation in Europe deteriorated, which made travel impossible. Another bit of historical trivia is that the Philippines was one of the countries that made the deciding vote for the establishment of the nation of Israel in, I think, back in '48. So, I mean, of course, I think the United States did have to lobby the president then. I think it was Quirino. I'm not sure. But yeah, in the end, because the normal tendency of the Philippines would be to vote against Israel because we have a Muslim minority. But in the end, I think it was the Philippines that casted the last vote. We were short of one vote, and we were the last vote. So, in a way, we have been quite. And so Israel seems to be, at least, although we don't interact a lot, the situation is friendly. And how do I assess that? I assess that by the visa test. You know, Philippines is one of the countries, and for a Filipino to travel all over the world, most countries you need a visa. Okay? And even with countries we're supposed to be very friendly with, like the United States or Canada or in Europe, they're all friends. But we do a lot of trade with them. But no, you still need a visa, and you have to pay so much paperwork just to just to go in. But Israel, there's no visa required. We just do the usual security checks like everyone else, and we just walk in. You know, we feel like an American going into the Israel. Like Americans are welcome everywhere, right? But yeah. So in a sense, by the visa test, I think Israel and the Philippines are quite friendly, and many Filipinos go to Israel for Bible study tours, you know, to see the Holy Land. Okay, I mean, having established that, and I think given I think that the diplomatic relations I think are fairly good. What's the unusual news? Well, okay, let's start with a bit of the normal. In On December 22, the alert level for Syria by the Philippine Department of Foreign Affairs was raised from level 3 to level 4. Now, when you reach level 4, the government repatriates all its citizens from that country, and basically pays for all their travel and accommodation arrangements and just basically gets them out. That's how that's what happened in Libya, for example. But it happened in Libya too late. I think the country was already practically in state of anarchy. But in this case, it was clear that the situation in Syria was deteriorating, and so we just Philippine government started to get these people out, negotiating with employers to terminate their contracts and get them out. Okay, and that's so far sort of normal. I mean, the fact that they do that is kind of it shows we're in the late stage of the fall of the government of Syria, and probably the establishment of anarchy. Generally, if there's a peaceful or semi-peaceful transition, alert level 4 is not raised. It's raised only if there's a danger of anarchy, like what happened in Libya. There was a state when no one was in charge, and then there was a really civil war. And I think it looks like civil war is going to break out in Syria. Okay, but that's not so far unusual yet. All right, I mean, it should certainly a sign that things are escalating. But what's unusual is that in December 31, the foreign secretary of the Philippines traveled to Damascus. He actually arrived on a Monday. It's a long trip. He probably had to refuel the plane. He took he flew on New Year's Eve, right? December 31 to Damascus. No, why? I mean, okay, the alert level 4 is serious. So he could have traveled on December 22 or December 23. Had some PR points, spend Christmas with the Filipino workers in Syria. Good PR. But no, it could normally, I guess, if it was really that urgent. I mean, it's an ongoing process. The best time for him to go would be maybe in the New Year, maybe on the Monday or Tuesday. But he traveled on New Year's Eve, and it's generally a time when people are busy celebrating with their families, Christmas and New Year's season. So it struck me as odd why they would travel at that day. And so I felt that the Philippine government was tipped off. Because it's December 31, it's also a coincidental date. That's the date that we know that the fuse was lit. So, was the Philippine government tipped off? Okay. And how do I find that out? Well, of course, the news wires won't say that. It's supposed to be a secret. It's probably if the Philippine government was tipped off, it was probably maybe the someone from the foreign department in Israel probably having maybe having a dinner, or maybe just meeting the ambassador in the Philippines, and just quietly saying, just off the record, all hell's about to break loose in Syria, because and probably because maybe not giving the details, but basically warning that you have to get out now. So since I didn't have any sources, I thought, well, maybe I could ask the Lord to tell me. I mean, because he would definitely know. So that's okay. So I'll try that. So I asked a very specific question. Did the Israeli government include the Philippines in their sphere of protection, and therefore gave a friendly tip to the Philippine government to get the Filipinos out? And what on that particular date, because that it seems like it's an unexpected travel, right? It was as though they got some news, and he flew out of there. He couldn't even wait until after the New Year's was over. He flew there right away. And okay, so what I did is I asked that question. I need to know whether the Israel, because of its friendly relations with the Philippines, considered it within its friendly sphere of influence, and therefore would have tipped the Philippines if there was any danger to their citizens there. The danger would be, of course, Psalm 83, right? Because I don't know what battle plan will be utilized in Syria. Any of the battle plans will result in anarchy, in Syria, and in Syria is going down. So, based on that, I was directed to Psalm 84. So here's Psalm 84, and in my Bible, it's actually the lower right hand corner here. And it's actually 4 verses. So I'll read verses 1 to 4. Psalm 84. How amiable are thy tabernacles, O Lord of hosts! My soul longeth, yea, even fainteth for the courts of the Lord. My heart and my flesh cried out for the living God. Yea, the sparrow has found a house, and the swallow a nest for herself, where she may lay her young, even thine altars, O Lord of hosts, my King and my God. Blessed are they that dwell in thy house. They will still be praising thee. Selah. Okay. Well, what struck me with this verse is the reference to the tabernacles and housing, as though you're protection, like you're covered, and the reference to birds, because what's going to be happening is that the Filipinos in Syria are going to be flying back home. So I thought that was a confirmation that the Philippine government was tipped off on December 31, which caused an unexpected flight of the Foreign Secretary to Damascus to personally supervise the evacuation of the Filipinos there. Now, there are actually the extent of the evacuation is quite extensive. They're actually covered, aside from probably from Damascus, obviously. There are 4 cities that have been included in the list of cities in the evacuation scope. These are, let me check, 4 cities which have been prioritized: Homs, Hama, Idlib, and Daraa. Those are the 4. So if you look at I'll show a map of that. And if you look at the location of these, they actually most of these cities fall on the main highway of the heavily populated area of Syria. And basically, if you're getting Filipinos from those areas, you're getting you're getting most of them. You're getting as much as possible out of there. And I actually felt that is what alert level 4 means. So it's unusual for the Foreign Secretary to go there. So what could have been the tip-off? I don't think the Philippine government would have been tipped off the details. I think they would have been told that something very, something terrible is about to happen, and to get your people out right away, which required personnel. That's why the Foreign Secretary had to be there to make sure that there was no unnecessary delays. Okay, we know what that could be. That's the Psalm 83 war, which means that there is a possibility that Israel would be making an offensive in Syria. In other words, Syria is part of the scope of the battle plan that is in progress. Okay, George, signing off.